I am your host, FatDag, and you're listening to Wise Advice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at FatDag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at Wise Advice. Send in your comments, your questions, and your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, here we are, episode 80. And so, 80 times now we've opened the show with, of course, in the beginning, I didn't open the show with this opening, but I have always felt that I believe in you and I know you can get this done, and truly, truly, truly honored to walk this journey with you and being at Lifetime and seeing others who reached Lifetime. Shout out to Jeff here. Jeff just let me know on Facebook that he reached Lifetime today. And there's nothing like that feeling. And at this point, I've told Jeff that your mission now, Jeff, is to maintain it so that the rest of us know that it's maintainable, that what we're doing is absolutely doable and maintainable. And we're relying on you, Jeff, to prove that to us. So thank you and congratulations for that. Also on Facebook, lots of people with some amazing, amazing stories and amazing weight loss. This is starting to be a cool thing to interact before the show and kind of get some real-time reports of how you're doing. And then hearing the people who say, hey, I'm struggling a little bit right now. And I just remind them that if you're tuned in, you may be struggling, but you're not out of the game because you're still here. And we want you to succeed, and you can succeed, and so we do as well. We believe in you. We will continue to believe in you up until the point where you now will start believing in yourself, and then we'll share that from that point on. So very cool. Thank you, those of you on Facebook, and again, those of you who are listening through the podcast. Awesome. Thank you for tuning in as well. Out of the gate, Aubrey writes in and says, I am completely caught up on your podcast, including 79, which I'm going to refer to as my podcast. You were spot on, as usual, with all of your observations. Thank you so much for validating my thoughts. I am looking forward to being back on track. I got a blue dot today and did just as I said, and I tracked like a newbie. I'm actually excited, just like I used to be, to go to my meeting. I just want to say thanks again for your time is much appreciated. I am hoping that I can make an impact on others like you have. Thanks again. Have a great evening, Aubrey. Aubrey, this is exactly what I talk about in the complacency trap. Thank you for your email. And when you said that you are actually tracking again, just like a newbie, and you're excited just like you used to be, that is the feeling that when that disappears, that's when we fall into the complacency trap. So the fact that you're excited to be back on track, excited to be back on the scale, is what is going to keep you in the game. So you're saying you're hoping you can make an impact on others, then just go do it. Share your story, get to Lifetime, get to goal, and others will simply notice, and you can walk the journey with them. Out of California, Lisa writes in, says, Hi, FatDag. I'm a new listener, and I love your podcast. I've been listening to you every morning before I start my day, and so far, until yesterday, your advice has kept me losing. However, I am a stress eater, and I believe that is how I gained 80 pounds over the last few years. I was always thin and couldn't gain weight if I tried, and then my dad, who was my partner in crime, got really sick. Although he did everything right, he exercised every day, ate right, kept his weight down, his genetic heart disease finally took him in December. During the past few years, helping take care of him and watching him fade from the man he used to be, I ate all of my feelings. And now I realize anytime I'm upset, I go straight to food. I'm facing that fact, but now I'm asking you any suggestions how to beat this beast. I am tracking everything, even if I'm not over my points. Even if I am over my points. I know when you're done eating points, stop eating points. My why is I want to start participating in my life with my husband, my children, my granddaughter, and 2 more grandkids coming this year. I'm tired of being sad and sitting in on the sidelines. I want to be me again. Thank you again for your great podcast. I learned about you in my Weight Watchers meeting in Yorba Linda, California. So now you have a whole new following. Lisa from California. Well, hello, California. Good to see you. Thank you for sharing me in your meeting room. That's a truly honor to me to know that here we are from Indianapolis all the way out to California and worldwide in some cases. And so thank you to all of you who shared it in California. Now, Lisa, let's go all the way back to the beginning. I am deeply sorry to hear about your father. And, there are times in life where we have to simply just remake new adjustments. We have to reset our life. We have to figure out what new normal is for us. And, it sounds like your father was an amazing man. Being your partner in crime had to have been an amazing life for both of you. You celebrate those victories and you celebrate those memories and you keep all of that alive, and that's what you focus on. And you focus on, and at this point, just continuing to live your new life and celebrate the why that you have, and say, you want to be there for your grandkids, and so you want to be there for as long as possible. So continue to do that. Certainly, you need to allow yourself permission to grieve. It happened in December. Here we are many months later. There is a absolute normal period of grieving, and every single person goes through it for an extent. And at some point, then you need to recognize when the grieving has now taken over your life, and then you can now make an adjustment to a new life for you, a new normal for you, and then now make the adjustments. The advice for suggestions for you that I said, how would you beat this beast? I can't tell you how you can beat it. What I can tell you is what I would do in this scenario, and hope that you can then piece your journey together. As we said, life now for you is completely different. You have to find your new normal. You have to now create new habits based on this new life that is now developing underneath you. The fact that you're tracking everything is absolutely the right way to handle this. If you're over your points and you track everything, that is absolutely the right thing to do. And I do say, when you're out of points, stop eating points. And the reason I say that, and it's the crux of the program for me, is that if you continue to track negative, which I want you to do, you never force yourself to adjust the plan. You just continue to allow yourself to go negative and negative and negative, and then we never really make the adjustments necessary. And then eventually we just quit tracking because we're tired of tracking these large negative numbers. It takes focus. It takes discipline. It takes an immense amount of willpower, but you need to stop eating points when you're out of points for the day, because that is the part of the process where you will look back on the days before and say, wait a minute, what did I do that caused me to be out of points by breakfast? What did I do that caused me to be out of points at lunchtime so I did not have the points for dinner? If you stop eating points when you're out of points, you'll have those data points to reflect back to. So that is the only way that we can learn on the journey. Otherwise, we're just continuing to just track negative, and it just keeps getting out of control, and eventually we give up on that process. So thank you for your email. My hat's off to your family. Condolences out to you guys. You can get through this. You absolutely can do this, and you know why you need to, so therefore you can. So thank you so much for your email. Next up says, I heard something on the Wise Advice podcast recently that stopped me cold. You can suppress your bad habits. I think you went on to say that for only so long, and then you go back to eating the way you did before and you gain. Suppression is easy when you first begin a program like Weight Watchers, but it can't last forever. My journey is not the one I recommend. I lost in several increments, but always maintained. 30 pounds the first time, from 260 down to 230. After 5-ish or so years there, another 30 pounds from 230 down to 195-ish. After 13-ish years at 195, I'm now working on the last increment, 40 pounds. I've lost about 25 in the last year. The time maintaining at each of these weights taught me to change my habits. Totally, I don't eat the same at restaurants. I don't eat the same at home. I am selective about all of my meals. I have salad dressing on the side and I dip my fork in it. and I don't miss anything that I don't eat now. I don't crave bacon or donuts or store-made cake. I don't want that anymore. When I see a store-bought cake, I think of the Greek yogurt, strawberries, and chocolate sauce I love, and it's so easy to turn down. So I have an easier time dealing with any situation. I have also exercised regularly, biking, hiking, and eventually weights. No more couch potato. To lose this last 40, I am eating less and tracking something I didn't do while maintaining at the higher weights. I wouldn't wish that long journey on anyone. I wish I hadn't taken 14 years to start down again, but I didn't go up, and I learned a lot about myself and healthy eating. I'm very glad I changed my habits to substitute more healthy foods to substitute more healthy foods for the foods that I love that were unhealthy. That fits in with my big why, to be as healthy as possible for me. Substitution, not suppression. Thanks, Mike, for the inspiration. Well, let's hit the most obvious thing in there. The fact that you don't crave bacon concerns me. Bacon is one of those things that I'm going to have to track for the rest of my life, and I apologize to you for that. But the fact that you don't crave bacon just kind of stopped me in my tracks. So we all have those foods that are trigger foods for us, and that we have to find a way to work into the plan. So I kid with you, and the fact that you now have made a choice to not have them is absolutely phenomenal. So great job with that. You sound like you are working the plan perfectly. When you say you don't wish this journey on anyone, I completely disagree. The fact that you have systematically broken your weight loss down, I don't care how long it's taken you, you have systematically made a change that you can sustain for the rest of your life. That journey I wish on every single person I come in contact with who starts this journey. I don't want them to lose it in a year. I don't want you to lose it in 2 years. I want you to develop whatever habit you need so that when you take the weight off, it stays off. So if you pause in the middle and don't go up exactly like you did, that is absolutely perfect. Who cares how long it takes? You're getting it done. You've gotten it done very, very well. So well done on that. So the other thing is, suppression. When you said suppression is easy when you first begin a program like Weight Watchers, but it cannot last forever. That is exactly what I say is you can suppress any habit for a long amount of time. You can create new habits for a long period of time. But if we don't make them lifelong changes to our lifestyle, then it is a suppression versus a completely change or a substitution, as you say. And what we want to get to the point where we're not suppressing these bad habits. We've actually completely changed them, just like you said. So keep up the great work. You've built a new life. You've tried it for a long time. You tried it the old way and you didn't do it. So this is clearly working for you. Keep up the fantastic work, and honored to walk this journey with you. Next up, Kristie has, I'm going to give me a second here, folks. This is going to be kind of a long email, but, and I want you to stick with me for it, because when I go through it, I've read it, I don't know, probably 5 times now, 3 today, and a couple of days ago I read it. And, it really talks to this program quite a bit. And so bear with me as I go through it, because it trust me, at the end of it, you're going to love. But Kristie writes in and says, "Dear FatDag, thank you so much for your show. You accompany me on my walks, and when there isn't anything new, I have some episodes flagged that I've listened to several times because they really resonate with me, or I just need to hear them again to remind myself of aha moments that I may have lost sight of. My struggle with weight has been lifelong. My mom has told me that when she started asking my doctor about managing my weight, I was only 4 years old. Was I overweight? I don't know. I know my parents, my mom in particular, were always concerned about my weight. My senior year of high school, they sent me to a dietitian to get my weight under control. I was 22 pounds over my current goal weight. I went to college and gained a little over my 4 years there. Graduation and entry into the real world led to a plethora of diet attempts, most of them unhealthy, and short-term bursts of frantic energy that would burn out as quickly as it started after I determined that I was unwilling to follow those tactics long-term. I got married in my late 20s to a man who said many things but meant none of them. One of the things that was that he wanted to have babies, At this point, I was about 95 pounds over a healthy weight, and my doctor urged me to lose at least 50 pounds before I started trying to get pregnant. I joined Weight Watchers, and for the first time ever in my history of dieting, I was successful. The plan seemed doable. I saw myself being able to maintain these changes after I got to Lifetime. It was then that I started talking to my husband about trying to start our family, and it was then that I learned he never had any intention of starting a family. He tried to make me feel that I had invented the whole thing, that I had trapped him into getting married under false pretenses. Our marriage began to unravel at that point, and I began to learn of one lie after another that I had believed during our marriage. And in a massive fit of self-destruction, I abandoned my newfound lifestyle. I still remember the specific point in time when a major binge led to skipping my next weigh-in. And then the meeting location changed, the leader changed days, then my girlfriend and I went on a stopped going spree, and then I used all those excuses to completely give up. Fast forward 15 years, I'd gained back every pound I'd ever lost and 35 more, bringing my total weight to 318 pounds. I tried to tell myself that it was okay. I was just big boned. I could be fat and happy at the same time. I wasn't that unhealthy, except that I really was that unhealthy. It took a trip to the doctor to have my adoption home study updated to get my attention. You see, when my marriage ended, I became a foster parent. It wasn't something that he had told me that he wanted us to, it was something he told me he wanted us to do as a family, but that was just another on the long list of lies. I decided there was no reason I couldn't be a foster parent on my own, though. So I did, and now I'm going to adopt my youngest. One step in that process was getting an updated medical review. I had some health concerns come up prior to beginning the adoption process. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, sleep apnea, concerning blood pressure, and numbers that indicated that I was pre-diabetic. But my blood pressure and sugar levels had been borderline for years, and now had never been tipped over that line. My MS was under control, and DHS wasn't concerned that it would limit my ability to parent. I figured this was going to be a check-the-box kind of appointment. Boy, was I wrong. My doctor gently but firmly told me that she would fill out the form for me so that I could get the results I was looking for. However, she was straight with me. She told me that if I didn't start doing something about my weight right now, I was not going to see my youngest graduate from high school, let alone college. She told me that my liver and blood sugar numbers were horrible, my weight was putting a strain on my heart and my joints, that she felt no matter how competent she and her colleagues were, I wouldn't make it to 60, and possibly not even to 50 if I didn't change now, because they wouldn't be able to repair all of the damage that I was doing. I left my appointment feeling disappointed in myself and angry that I'd let it come to this once again. I sat on it for a few days. I couldn't decide if I was going to accept my fate or do something about it. Finally, I decided to do something. I signed up for Weight Watchers. It was the only thing that had ever worked before, and at this point, I had nothing to lose. I started February 26, 2017. I had the usual fears that it wouldn't work, that I would somehow screw it up, that I would fail, but I did it anyways, and there have been ups and downs. Some days have been really hard. I have eaten more points than I had available. I haven't tracked. I've made choices that didn't benefit me, but instead of throwing in the towel when I made a mistake, I stopped, I refocused, and I carried on. Instead of deciding I couldn't do it because I went over my points for the day, I got back on track the next morning. When an unexpected outpatient procedure kept me from exercising for a week and caused me to put on 5 pounds in 1 week from all the swelling, I just increased my water intake to flush everything out, and I knew that it would be better at the next weigh-in, and it was. This is not easy. It's a decision to remain focused every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, but it is worth it. I have seen so many improvements in the last 14 weeks. My clothes fit better. I can climb a flight of stairs without getting dizzy. I sleep better. I am starting to see the difference in pictures. I can't wait until I have a follow-up appointment with my doctor in July. This week at my meeting, I got my 10%. I'm down 34.6 pounds. I have 115 to go. No matter how long it takes, I will make goal. Goal is not to be confused with my destination. Goal is a milestone on this journey to the life that I want and I will deserve. I will be a mom for all 3 of my beautiful kids as they graduate from high school, become adults, head off to college, and start their lives of their own. I'm going to enjoy every single minute of it. Thank you so much for all that you do for this community and in your service to our country. This podcast truly is my almost daily meeting. So glad to count you as a wingman. Kristie. Kristie, I can't thank you enough for sharing that story. And here's I have a lot of notes as I read through your story. And the one that I want to kind of capitalize on the most and really say is, you can absolutely hear in your voice, in the tone, where in your life that you finally took care of you. You had a complete attitude shift. And, your entire life as other people were telling you what they needed you to do and what they wanted you to do and what they thought was right for you. And you wrestle with that, and almost in a rebellious way, you either refused to listen or didn't care, or you made the excuses, as you said. But when you finally understood your why, when you figured out why you were doing this, and the why was for you, that attitude shift is what got you to your 10%. That attitude shift is what got you down 34.6 pounds. And that attitude shift is what you're going to have to use to get those last 115 pounds off. At this point, I'm confident to say that you have mentally made goal. You mentally have the ability to reach any goal you set in your weight loss journey. If you've hit 10%, which you clearly have, you can hit goal. We're not going to give you a new plan. Now, I want to give a shout out to your doctor. Your doctor is absolutely fantastic. You need to continue checking in with her. The fact that she gave it to you straight is absolutely key. And I think a lot of doctors do that. And the fact that you also were able to hear what she said is key. So the two of you make a great team, and you absolutely need to be working together and go do your checkup and let her know that you've taken her advice and that you're working on it. So great job with everything. I understand how you hit a lot of different topics that we hit here in the show. Your weight gain and your weight issues were clearly emotionally related, as your family, we continue to remind you, what that, and then trying to follow the tactics is that suppression we talk about. You can't follow these diets long enough to suppress habits. You clearly have to adjust your mindset to do exactly what you've done. So stress, for sure, being in a stressful marriage, that a lot of us can relate to that. So that certainly stress indicators in our lives, they add up. And so when all of that gets kind of realized and all of that comes into play, you say, you know what? I'm doing this for me. And when you do it for me, the feeling that you had that said you're going to screw it up and that I would fail, but you did it anyway, is what gives you that beautiful trend line down to 10%. So Kristie, great job. Thank you so much for your email. Honored to walk this journey with you. When you reach your goal, I want to hear about it. I want you to write in, tell me how proud of yourself you are, and let's go celebrate together. So thank you for that. Lisa out of Kannapolis writes in and says, "Hi, Mike. First, let me say that I love your podcast. My new mantra is, when you're out of points, stop eating points. And one of my whys is to be able to say, I don't want to lose any more weight. I've been on Weight Watchers before and I lost 50 pounds. My leader was fantastic. She was the only thing that kept me going and gave me hope and motivation. Well, and then she left. I don't remember why, but maybe she moved or something. I just remember that she wasn't there for me anymore. Life happened, and I got off the plan. I didn't feel a connection with the other leaders, and eventually I quit, and I gained back all of the weight and more. I'm telling you this because I've heard a few people say that you are the only reason that they keep going. This instantly sends up red flags in my mind. I want you and them to know that you are not the only reason that I keep going. Your podcast is fantastic, but it is a tool and only a tool. You didn't tell me how to spend my points. I do. You don't tell me how to go earn fit points. I do. You do not and cannot work the plan for me. I do, and I can. Wise advice is a tool, and if it disappears tomorrow, I will miss it, but I will not quit. I will not fail. If I was in the middle of building a project and I lost my hammer, I would not stop the project and let the wood go to rot, would I? No, I would go find another hammer or pick up a wrench and drive nails with it instead. A hammer may be the best tool I have to drive nails, but it isn't the only tool that will work. Right now, wise advice is my hammer, smart points are my nails, and connect is my glue, but I am the carpenter. I am the one doing the work. All of these tools make my job easier, and for that, I am so grateful. The right tools are invaluable, but without someone using the tools, they are just laying around doing nothing. For all of your listeners who think they can only keep going because of your podcast, I hope they will realize that they are doing the work. They have the strength. They are the ones to use the tools, and if the tools disappear, they can still continue to work and finish the project. Here's hoping that wise advice will be around for a long time to come. Thank you for all you do. Lisa, I could not agree more with this email. And I feel that some way too, when I get those emails that people say that you're the only reason I'm doing this. And that's when I say, for the time being, I can shoulder that. Let me be the only reason you are working the plan for a little while. And I'm hoping that as we do that, you figure out exactly what Lisa just said, is that you figure out that, actually, that was just a tool that I was using to get my mindset right and to stay focused and disciplined. So the fact that you recognized that is what will continue to keep you at goal, because as tools come and go, there will always be another way to get yourself focused and do what you want to do. So I can only tell you what I did on the plan. I can only tell you what I do. So when we talk about all the emails here, I just tell you what I did. And so for some people, it resonates, and that's why the tool becomes very powerful. At some point, what if I said something you completely disagreed with? What if I threw something out there that was so different that I did that very few people do, and you all of a sudden it caused you to tune out? Would that cause you to gain your weight back? And if that does, then we need to sit there and reassess. And we say, you know what, wait a minute. I'm working this plan for me. If you heard in episode 79, someone said that I was at the top of their playlist for podcast. And what I said to that was, I appreciate that, but the fact that I'm on the top of your playlist means that you're on the top of your own playlist. And so you are using this tool to your benefit to get it done. So thank you for the accolades on the podcast. It's an honor to do it. And I'm glad to see that you recognized it as such, as simply being one tool that you use. It's why I have many different tools that I use on my journey. And so for me, the podcast is one tool that keeps me back and accountable. I have my daily weigh-ins. I have the app, and I have my family, and I have my uniform, and I have my clothes. All those things together are tools that I use to remind myself daily that I'm doing that. So Lisa, thanks for your email. And speaking of tools, I just want to take one quick second. If you're listening at this point, if you have not already, go to your app store, get the Wise Advice app. That's the absolute best way to hear the show. I want to make sure that you guys continue to know that is available and it's out there. Last up, before we wrap up, Alesha writes in and says, hello, FatDag. I stepped on the scale this morning and I hit the 10% goal with 20 pounds gone. I've loved listening to the podcast on your app. It's motivated me to congratulate myself on every pound lost. This helped me to stay focused and to stop being so negative about how much I still need to lose. Thank you for the inspiration and for your service to our country. I greatly appreciate you. Well, Alesha, I greatly appreciate you, and I congratulate you on 10% and 20 pounds gone. You didn't do it by accident. You did it with complete focus. You were disciplined. You've hit some ups and downs. I'm positive in your journey. And then when you had the ups and the downs, you continued to work the plan anyways. When you had a struggle, you woke up the next day. You wake up every single morning on plan. You fought through and you persevered to get 10% down. As you know, 10% down means you absolutely have the ability to get to goal. So I am honored to walk this journey with you. It's an honor to celebrate with you. And I really want to close the show out with you saying, if you're celebrating, what is it that you're celebrating? Alesha writes in, she's down 10%, down 20 pounds, but let's share your success as well. Go to fatdag.com, click on listen now, send in your celebrations, your comments, and I'll include them as part of the show. I want you to email in your celebrations because more than anything, if you are proud of what you're doing, if you have the ability to jot it down and frame it in words and put it out to the universe in an email, other people get inspired by that. And if you're proud of it, then you're proud of you. And we show the entire community that we can all be proud of each other for getting it done. And so that is going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus.